Hello and welcome to English with Jimmy. And today's subject is past perfect continuous. We all know that we have two types of verbs, regular and irregular. Regular, we add ed for the past and ed for the past participle. And we know that the past participle represent a past that started and finished completely. Okay, that's a past participle. So, and for the irregular, we have to memorize it. So, for regular verbs, play, played, played, and irregular, eat, ate, eaten, we have to memorize that and remember it for the other irregular verbs. The tenses, we know we have 12 tenses. We talked about many of them in the videos, okay? We have present and past and future, present continuous, present simple, present continuous, present perfect, present perfect continuous, and past simple, continuous, perfect, perfect continuous, and future simple, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. Total 12 tenses. Now, the past perfect continuous is an action that started in the past, took a while, and then finished also in the past. That's it. That's all you need to remember about it. In order to create a format for the past perfect continuous, as we can see here, past plus perfect plus continuous. So the past of, because the perfect, we're talking about verb to have. So the past of verb to have is had. So had, perfect means verb to have, or in the past, plus pp, past participle. And then plus continuous. Continuous, we need verb to be plus verb plus ing. Add them together, perfect plus continuous. You find the had will come as had, and then the past participle of verb to be is been, and then the verb plus ing. That's it. Example, I had been working in that company for 10 years. I no longer work there. That's it. Happened in the past for 10 years and it's over. It's finished. He got another job or he is retiring. Got it, guys? That is the format. The format for the past perfect continuous can be in affirmative or in a negative or in an interrogative, which means in the positive and the negative and in the questions. Here we got in the positive, subject plus had plus been plus verb plus ing. He had been working before he went to the cinema. Before is an assistant conjunction there, okay, between the two sentences, and you can see subject he had been and working exactly, and the conjunction that is for the positive. For the negative, subject had not been, okay, he had not been working before he went to the market. Got that? Subject he had not been working, and before here has been used as a conjunction to help with the verb, used with the verb, the past perfect continuous, okay, and that's it. That's the negative. So we talked about positive and negative. Here's some other examples. You can check them. You'll find that they are the same. In the questions, we start with had. So had subject he been traveling yesterday? As we can see here, it's a question and you start with had. That is it about the questions, all right, for the format. So we've seen three formats for affirmative, negative, and questions, okay? Moving on to the usage of the past perfect continuous, we have, for the first thing is that we said it's an action happened in the past, continued, and then ended in the past. And we have an example here. He had been working as a solicitor until he decided to get a degree in art. That's it. He finished work as a solicitor in the past completely and then started studying something else. Okay? And we're using until here also as a conjunction in this sentence. As another example, I had been looking for a job for several weeks when I found this position here. Had been looking, okay, for a job, and then we can see that when is being used, okay, as a conjunction. In the other example here, my son had been asking me to buy him a car for years before I could finally afford to get him one. So we're using until and before and when as conjunction in these sentences. Okay, good. And the second thing we're going to talk about is that because the past perfect continuous tense refers to actions that ended, we often use subordination or subordinating conjunction, as we said before and since, okay, and until and when, like you've seen in other sentences up there that we give an example. And here are some examples of using these uh, conjunctions. Okay, the champion boxer had been winning every match by a knockout until he was suddenly beaten by a newcomer. I hadn't been eating for even 5 seconds when a salesman, okay, a salesman knocked on my door, okay. Martha had been walking 3 miles a day before she broke her leg, okay. And here is another one. The program that was terminated had been working well since. Okay, so here all these are conjunctions are being used to assist in in the forming of the past perfect continuous. All right. There's more here, guys, and they're all the same. Something else. We also use another conjunction called because. Okay, sometimes with in the to give the reason for. Okay, for the past perfect continuous. An example here: the knights were on high alert. Okay, because Robin Hood had been stealing from wealthy merchants. So here we can see the reason we use because as a conjunction. All right, in that example. Uh, Another example here, the fourth, like fourth different example. When we use the past perfect continuous, we focus on the action, okay, and its effect on the subject, not on the completion of the action. Okay, we're not just in the action. So the workers had been unloading the truck when the storm started. We interested in the workers. We're not interested in when the unloading of the truck happened. Okay, that's something else to remember. Okay. Uh, there are two important things to remember about the past perfect continuous tense. Okay. The first thing is like a comparison between the present perfect continuous and the past perfect continuous. Present is like you could say, I have been waiting for Kevin for 2 hours. That's a present perfect continuous. The past perfect continuous, I had been waiting for Kevin for 2 hours. The difference is you still waiting, have been waiting for Kevin for 2 hours, you still there, you still waiting. That's a present perfect continuous. If you're using the past perfect continuous, you waited for 2 hours, but that's it, you left. You are not waiting for Kevin anymore. That's the difference between present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous. Another point, when we are using stative, okay, verbs like know or verb to be or believe or want or like or love or hate, okay, if we are using these verbs, stative verbs, it's better, okay, to use a past simple and past perfect, not past perfect continuous. Stative verbs refer to the states of being, so it usually does not make sense to use them in the past perfect continuous. Okay, we're not describing an action like we are using for the past perfect continuous. This is describing a state of a person. So we'd rather use the past simple and the past perfect, not the past perfect continuous. And here is an example. When we got married, okay, Bill and I had known each other for 10 years. So, had known, we're using here the past perfect because it's known. Okay, the verb is known, a stative verb. Okay, you can't say when we got married. Okay, Bill and I had been knowing each other for 10 years. It doesn't make sense. The right way to say it is that you say had known. Okay, or you could use if there's another type of an example, you could use past simple, but not the past perfect continuous. Okay. Uh, okay, some examples of the past perfect continuous. By the time we finished our meal, we had been sitting around the table 3 hours. Margaret had been playing well when the game was interrupted by a snowstorm. We had been preparing the house for hours, okay, before the guests arrived. The meeting ended after they had been negotiating all afternoon. She had been going to the same beauty salon for years before it shut down. You can see they're all examples, and we use in different conjunctions here, okay? Even because here she was covered in flour because, okay, she had been making a cake, okay? Uh, Again, another two examples is when, similar, and you can see the format. It hadn't been, that's in a negative, okay, and we're using when as a conjunction. I had been waiting, and we're using when. Mike finally arrived, okay. Uh, we didn't think Sally was ready for the big show because, another because, okay, she had not, that's negative, been practicing her lines again. Um, the suspect hadn't been working at the bank for even a day when the money went missing. Okay, another when, and it's negative. He had been drinking milk out of the carton when mom walked into the kitchen. Okay. Another three examples here was when, and before. Okay. She had been eating meat for years before she became a vegetarian or a vegan. All right. And the other two examples are just similar, really, with when as a conjunction. The dogs had been barking constantly until their owner fed them. We're using until here as a conjunction, and I think that's about it, really. Yes, that's about it, okay? That's all there is to it for the past perfect continuous, girls and guys, and I thank you.